and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to meet the news on Global TV. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja, and I am Ogochukwu Mobuno. President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after spending 2 weeks abroad. The president returned to his official residence at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja, in the early hours of yesterday. In a tweet on Tuesday evening, Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed that the president, along with his aides, will return to Nigeria from Europe on Wednesday. As part of activities to mark the National Nurse Week, the Abuja chapter of the National Association of Nurses and Midwives has submitted a letter of complaint against the closure of nursing verification portal by the Nursing and the Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Samuel Odi has the details.
From the Federal Secretariat to the House of Representatives complained that the verification portal has been shut down since November 2023 by the Council. They called on the House of Representatives to come to the aid of nurses and appealed to the Nursing and Midwife Council of Nigeria to reopen the verification portal without conditions.
The portal was closed down in November, and we were waiting for a reopening, maybe with a better verification rules. But when they reopened, they came up with a verification guideline that does not go well with any nurse. That a nurse will have to study, train, or practice 2 years after education before you can qualify to be verified. Then that the verification that is supposed to take maximum 24 hours is going to take 6 months to a year. Okay? Then another thing, we will need to get a letter of good standing. I keep saying it. A letter of good standing is for job referencing. For crying out loud, they licensed us. The people that are asking for verification are not asking for if this person is working well.
We want good working environment for nurses. Nurses should not be relegated. They should be able to do whatever they want to do. They should not cage us. We are human beings. We have our fundamental human rights. So that is why we are here today to tell them that we don't want to be suffering in silence and keep on working. We are not comfortable. The country is no longer comfortable for us.
That nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system, and the backbone of the healthcare system should be properly taken care of. A king should be treated as a king, not as a slave. Our salary is nothing to write home about, so we need increment in our salaries as well. And then the verification rules should be reversed. It should be reversed with immediate effect. And
the Chairman Health Committee, Honorable Amos Magaji, assured the nurses that he will invite the members of the Nursing and Midwife Council of Nigeria for a meeting and their complaint will be addressed.
Many of the nurses that are in locum right now will be absorbed into permanent employment. But there is a process. So you guys need to exercise patience and see that that is done. And I'm assuring you, I've sat with the Minister of Health and he's doing wonderfully well in issues regarding health of Nigerians. And then the various committee of health in National Assembly and of course the Senate, every registered nurse and medical professional is gainfully employed in Nigeria.
Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television.
The Chief Whip of the Senate, Ali Ndume, has raised concerns over alleged inadequacies noticed in the renovated Senate chambers. Senator Ndume, who raised the issues through Order 42 of the Senate Standing Rules, said what was supposed to be a chamber has been turned into a conference hall, which according to him is not acceptable. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
Complaints by senators on their renovated chamber continued Tuesday, a week after bickering about the altered sitting arrangements.
If you go and record what I'm speaking now, you will not know straight away that it is Senator Ndume that is speaking. So also when the leader was talking, we need to correct this. We need to change so many things, like the sitting. Now, if you want to stand up, you have to use a strategy or tactics to stand up or to sit down. There is no voting device here. If we are to vote electronically, the facilities are not there. But previously, we had that. There is no clock here for senators to see what's the time because maybe they have some commitment outside. The clock is, even at the back, there's no clock. So you see, you are showing me and I'm looking for it. Where is it?
Concurring to Ndume's observation, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in his response says the observations were well noted and the point of order upheld. He, however, explained to Ndume that complaints on seating arrangements among senators have been sorted out 99.9%, just as he reminded him that contracts for the renovation work was not done by the 10th National Assembly.
We shall discuss in future about the need for us to have proper autonomy for the National Assembly, because after 25 years of democracy, the National Assembly should be able to own a property or own a chamber and be able to maintain its chambers, give contract for the renovation of the chambers. But as it is now, we just have to wait for our head to be shaved by FCDA, even in our absence. Like you, I just came into the chambers. I'm not aware. Let's not go into it again. I would have said, were you there in the 9th Assembly? When the contract was given, what was the bill of quantities and all that. But I think that substantial progress has been made, even in the voice quality of the microphones, and it will continue to improve with your observations. So your point of order is upheld.
Recall that there was an argument between Senate leader Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, Senate Sabi Yao, and Danjuma Goje, which the leadership of the Senate debunked the same day. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association, NAFOA, has reiterated commitment of the association in ensuring individuals with special needs are allowed to reach their full potentials. Fauziat Lukman reports that NAFOA President Ruqayyah Abubakar made this known when the association's and Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Communication Commission, paid a courtesy visit to the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities in Abuja. Elder statesman Edwin Clark has called on the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku.
NAFOA President says the association is dedicated to providing support, resources and education to individuals with special need as well as their family, so as to improve the quality of service to humanity, as the Commission holds values of compassion, empathy and inclusivity, which are exemplified in the unwavering commitment to supporting individuals with special needs.
It is for collaboration in order to ensure each individual, especially people with special needs, are allowed to reach their full potentials. We have a school that also encourages that, so we felt it was necessary to actually align with them and also identify with them in this quest.
Presenting 50 units of laptop computers to the Commission, the Deputy Director, Nigerian Communication Commission, Tijani Manganu, noted that the ICT support is part of the NCC's commitment in ensuring digital access, inclusion and process automation in transforming the country into a knowledge economy.
The idea is inclusion. Inclusivity is key. We don't want to leave any segment of the society behind, because we are trying to build a digital economy. So we need every sector of the individuals in our society to be included in this digital drive we're doing in our country.
Speaking to journalists, the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Dr. James Lalu, expressed gratitude while calling on more partnership and collaboration for increased advocacy in addressing the plight of persons with disability in Nigeria.
The disability issues is everybody's business, and that each and everybody, no matter where you work, no matter your profession, you have one or certain way to contribute to the improvement of the quality of life of persons with disabilities. We are always very open and ready for collaboration. Our area of mandate include education, access to quality healthcare services, as well as access to empowerment, as well as social life. We work in different perspectives to see how we can be able to integrate the disability community in the community and the society where we find ourselves.
Fauziat Lukman, reporting for Global TV News.
Elder statesman Edwin Clark has called on the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Agbetokun, to protect the nation's constitutional rights as a matter of national interest by stopping his men from shielding the 27 APC lawmakers from Rivers State. Anthony Momodu was there for Global Television.
Recall that there is a court ruling on defection from one party to another. According to the court ruling, if an elected politician defects to another party without crisis at the national level, the politician loses his or her seat. Chief Edwin Clark therefore blamed the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, and his loyalists for the chaos in the state and insisted that the constitution was clear about the fate of the defected lawmakers.
We have seen that your policemen in uniform are being used to beat the Constitution of Nigeria with impunity. You have a duty to arrest the situation. People who have been declared, whose election have been declared null and void, they are no longer there, should not be allowed to disturb the government of elected government.
He also frowned at the lukewarm attitude of state and non-state actors over the brewing crisis in the state, especially the presidency that has put party interest above national interest.
I believe that the Inspector General of Police should advise Mr. President that the interest of one individual and his men should not be taken above the interest of the nation. Otherwise, there will be problem in this country that we will not be able to cope with.
There is no gainsaying that issues of national interest must be upheld and protected by all and sundry, especially those at the helm of affairs for unity and development of the nation. Anthony Momodu reporting for Global Television News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has released a comprehensive strategy to help states and stakeholders better brace for the impact of flooding caused by the rainy season. The agency made the presentation today during its two-day expert meeting with stakeholders in Abuja. Sharon Ajay has more.
The strategy on climate-related disaster preparedness and mitigation is a vital aspect of the 2024 seasonal climate prediction by Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and annual flood outlook of Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. The Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umar, emphasized the need for all emergency agencies to hold various meetings to further prepare adequately to ward off implications of environmental adverse phenomena.
For all relevant stakeholders to live up to their responsibilities so as to prevent loss of lives and properties that may occur due to the predicted climate-related disasters in 2024. To this end, various emergency sectors, including food security, water sanitation and hygiene, health, nutrition, education, protection, information, emergency shelter and non-food items, camp coordination and camp management, security information and logistics are required to be holding coordination meetings. In the front burner should be preparedness and mitigation measures to be able to effectively respond to adverse climate-related situations that may arise this year.
Director General says the preparedness of the early warning by NIMET and the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency is to save spaces, materials, and preparedness for prompt response.
Is to be backed by early action so as to mitigate the impact of possible disasters.
Commenting on the movement of displaced persons living in flood-prone areas, the Director General of NEMA, Zubaida Umar, commended state government for measures they have put in place to identify grounds where people can be moved with all basic amenities in a bid to avoid any risks posed by flooding. Sharna J reporting for Global TV News.
Watching Midday News coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When Midday News returns, Minister of Solid Materials solicits increased funding for expanded exploration. These and other stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us. This is Global Television, bringing you live. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Midday News on Global TV. On the foreign scene, Britain's ruling Conservatives braced for further losses in local elections, their worst result in recent memory and a key test before a general election to be held by January. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's party lost nearly 500 councillors and controls of 12 councils as well as a parliamentary seat after voting Thursday across a swath of England saw the Labour opposition make huge gains. The bilingual Tory leader faces more likely defeats when results of crunch mayoral races in London, Liverpool and Manchester are announced Saturday, but is hoping to retain the West Mainland. Israel's military has called for the evacuation of Palestinians from eastern Rafah ahead of a ground invasion of the city, with Gaza's aid officials saying Israeli jets struck two areas where the warning had been issued. The evacuation calls followed intensified disagreement between Israel and Hamas over the Islamist group's demand to end the 7-month war during weekend talk in Cairo consultations between two other mediators. The United States and Qatar were expected on Monday in Doha, but state-linked media in Egypt said negotiation has stalled after a rocket strike killed 4 Israeli soldiers on Sunday. Truce talks were expected to resume in Egypt aimed at halting months of war in Gaza between Hamas militants and Israel that have triggered widening protests around the world. Mediators from Qatar, Egypt and the United States have been waiting for the Palestinian Islamist movement to respond to a proposal that, according to a detail released by Britain, would halt fighting for 40 days and exchange hostages for Palestinian prisoners. Months of negotiations stalled in part of Hamas' demand for a lasting ceasefire, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin repeated vows to crush the group's remaining fighters in Rafah along the Egyptian border in Gaza far south. In business, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has solicited the support of the Senate for increase in funding for his ministry to enhance its capacity to carry out expanded exploration of the nation's vast mineral deposits. Speaking during the opening session of the investigative hearing of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, Alake identified the twin issues of poor funding for exploration and insecurity as the main challenges hampering the development of mining sector, whilst limiting its role as the pivot of diversification of the economy. Ikelomo Okere has more.
The Minister of Solid Minerals therefore solicited the support of the Senate for increased funding for the ministry to enhance its capacity to carry out detailed exploration of the nation's vast mineral deposit. He further explained that a global rating agency ranked Nigerian exploration budget 12th in Africa, which he noted is not encouraging.
In his report of 2021, the NBS, that's the Bureau of Statistics, reported that aggregate production of minerals in Nigeria grew by over 17%, from 54 million tons in 2019 to 64 million tons in 2020. In 2021, the NBS reported a 39% increase in mineral production from 64 million tons to 89 million tons. Evaluating the same period with Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, that's NEITI, in his 2021 report stated as follows on his website. The report observed a consistent year-on-year increase in revenue to the Federation account from the solid mineral sector in the past 15 years.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, advocates for more concerted efforts by the executive and the legislature to ensure resources wasted through illegal mining and other nefarious activities are curtailed.
We must dare to ask and investigate why our national economy continues to rely solely on crude oil. Why can't we infuse our economy with the richness of our solid minerals that abound across the entire nation and liberate ourselves from the shackles of oil dependence and even liberate ourselves from insecurity caused by illegal mining? How can we transform our mono economy into a fully diversified economy? That's part of what concerns you. So you are here to make suggestions on how to improve Nigeria's hydra.
The three-day investigative hearing is aimed on unraveling challenges hampering the development of the mining sector despite the vast mineral deposits across the country. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
In sports, Chelsea's bid to secure European football for next season has received a major boost following Manchester United's disastrous 4-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. The Eagles' rampart performance at Selhurst Park extended their unbeaten streak to 5 games and dealt a significant blow to United's Europa League aspirations. The writing was on the wall early for Erik ten Hag's side as Michael Olise broke the deadlock inside the opening quarters of an hour. Two more Nigerians relay teams, the men's and women's 4x100 meter squad, has secured automatic qualification for the Paris Olympic after making the best use of their second chances at the just concluded World Relays in Nassau, Bahamas. The women's 4x100 meter team, led by Nigerians 200 meter indoors and outdoor record holders, Favour Ofili, secured their passage to Paris first. The quartet of Justina Oyakwebiyan, Ofili Olayikan and Olajide and Tima Godbless displayed impressive teamwork, storming to victory in a time of 42.71 seconds, booking their spot in the 2024 Olympics. That's it on Midday News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Ogochukwu Mobno. Thank you for watching. See you again.